Film photography is really fun, but I do wish I would have known these few things before I got started. Number 1, choose your photo lab wisely. I used to work with this photo lab that it would take almost 2 weeks to process color or black and white film and get it back to me. The whole shop seemed pretty unorganized, and the way that they did things seemed pretty fly by the seat of your pants, so I decided to switch labs. A lab close to me offers 24-hour turnaround time for color film processing, which is just excellent. One time I dropped off a roll at this new lab at noon, and at 4 p.m. the same day they called me and told me it was ready. So find a good lab local to you to get your processing done. Just a quick note, I've never actually used any mail-in lab services. I know there's like the Darkroom Lab, Nice Film Club up in New York. I've never really used a mail-in service before because I'm kind of nervous about my negatives just sitting in a hot USPS truck for hours and hours on end. Maybe if you have, you can let me know in the comments below. Real quick, I want to cut in and say, if you are new to this channel, please be sure to subscribe if you like this content. I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world if you helped me get there. Number 2, you are at the mercy of the film market prices. Now, it is obviously no secret that film photography is getting really popular. In fact, I don't think it's ever been more popular to shoot film since film was the only option to take pictures. And since more people are trying to get their hands on a finite resource that isn't being manufactured anymore, you can imagine that prices are going to go up. I really wish I would have known how expensive these types of things were going to be before I started getting into film photography. I've looked into some cameras before that I had looked up a couple years ago, and they're as much as $300 or $400 more right now than they were a few years ago. But what I didn't expect is film also going up in price. You can get a roll of Kodak Gold 200 right now in person at my local shop. It's $15 a roll. $15 a roll. Now, I love Kodak Gold. I think it looks amazing, but I don't think it's worth $15 a roll. If you think about it, if you have a client shoot coming up, or if you have a wedding that you want to shoot, if you're going on vacation, you want to just bring a bunch of film with you, you kind of have to buy it all ahead of time. It's going to be pricey. That being said though, it is going to be a lot cheaper than buying a new digital camera body. For example, I did the calculation and you can buy 133 rolls of film for the price of a new A7 III. So if you're on the fence between an A7 III or just shooting film, it may be more cost effective to just shoot film. You're able to make little investments over time, $15, $20 at a time, instead of one huge $2,000 chunk all at once. So it's a little more budget friendly. If you're a salaried employee or if you don't make as much hourly as you would like to, this would be a much better way to get into photography if you haven't even started yet. Number 3, there is a soul to film images that I just can't explain. Now I know, if you haven't drank the Kool-Aid or bought in completely to the film photography game yet, it may sound really artsy, it may sound really dumb what I'm about to say, but there is absolutely, in my opinion, a soul to every film image. Black and white, color, doesn't matter. There is such a tangible soul to the image that digital just cannot replicate. You'll hear people talk about the film look or the filmic look, and there are countless videos on YouTube just trying to replicate that look in Lightroom and Photoshop, but why try to replicate it when you could get the real thing? You just can't touch the real look of a nice film camera. Digital absolutely has its place. If I need 20 frames per second, I will pick up this ZV-1 because obviously a film camera can't do that. Digital definitely still has its place. It's just, in my world, regardless of what I'm trying to do, if I don't need a fast frame rate, if I want to make art and I want to hone my craft as an artist, I will always be reaching for film before digital. Number 4, rewinding film. Now, a lot of people won't want to admit this because it's a little embarrassing, but when you're first starting out and you're constantly switching cameras, you're buying new cameras, you're testing other people's cameras, everyone's works a little differently. By the end of the roll, I'd really enjoy that camera, but I need to rewind all the film that I just shot, and I don't want to open the back and accidentally expose all the images and lose them. I would be really paranoid about rolling the film the wrong direction too far and the negatives actually like coming off the spool, which I don't even know if that's possible, but that's what I was paranoid about. A couple of the cameras I have actually have arrows on the top of the lever you use to rewind the film, pointing you in the correct direction to spin the wheel. And if for whatever reason your camera doesn't have those arrows on it, just keep this in mind. Take note of what direction the wheel is spinning when it is advancing the film, because when you rewind it, you'll just need to do the opposite of the direction that the camera advances the film. Number 5, having your own scanner is a lifesaver. As I mentioned before in this video and a couple other videos, I didn't really have a great experience with my first film lab that I used. I tossed around the idea before of getting my own scanner and then just having them process and cut the film and then me scan them at home, but I kind of waited and I honestly regret that. Eventually I did find the $20 scanner that is $250 new on Facebook Marketplace, and I haven't looked back since. I love having the control of my creative process as much as I possibly can. Obviously, I'm in a one-bedroom apartment with my girlfriend, so I don't really have the option to turn our bathroom into a dark room, but short of doing that, I have complete control of my process. I pay somebody $8 a roll to process the film for me and cut it, and then I bring it home. I can scan it in my own scanner, whatever resolution, whatever DPI, it doesn't matter. I have complete control and it's amazing. It's also really cool to be able to just have to store negatives instead of storing negatives and prints that I used to have to do. And if I ever want to go back and print something out really large or make a poster or something like that, I can go back, find the negative, rescan it at a much higher resolution for just that one frame, and then send it off to be printed. Number 6, how to inspect used cameras. As I mentioned earlier, there aren't any new film cameras being manufactured. There may be one or two by some independent companies, but not like it used to be in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Everyone's moved on to digital manufacturing, so whenever you're looking to buy a film camera, you're going to be buying used. So this is the step-by-step process I use to inspect each of the film cameras that I want to pick up. Step 1, look at the lens in off-axis light. You're going to be looking for spots, you're going to be looking for scratches, scuffs, fungus, that type of stuff. Anything weird on the lens or inside the lens that you can't just wipe away, I would avoid, because that is going to show up in your images. Unless you want to spend a whole bunch of time in Photoshop retouching the images, which you probably don't want to do, I would skip it. Step 2, if the lens is removable from the camera and not built in, remove the lens and open the back of the camera. Click the shutter release button like you're taking a picture and make sure the shutter and aperture open and close smoothly. There should be a moment in time, very short moment, where you can actually see right through from the back out the front of the body. You want to make sure there is that tiny moment of time where you can see right through the camera, because that means the shutter and aperture are open and closing like they should. Step 3, you want to make sure all the buttons are working and functioning. You want to make sure they're not hanging off by a thread, or if they are, you feel confident that you would be able to repair it on your own. Open the back and press the shutter and make sure the take-up wheels, I think they're called, are running smoothly. All of them are moving on their own power. There's this big skepticism in the film community of buying cameras with electronic components. None of them have died on me yet. That doesn't mean it won't happen, but you're kind of playing the lottery, because obviously if something decides to die, you're not going to be able to fix it, more than likely. So the older and exclusively manual cameras are a little more desirable because, you know, the electronics just won't make it a brick. And a little bonus tip here for you at the end: always visit thrift stores. I will say the best stuff at thrift stores are often there during the week, because different stores will restock in different days, but they often don't restock on Saturday when everybody's going to be there. The best stuff you may be able to find will be earlier in the week. You never know what you're gonna find, so just start looking around in all your local thrift stores, flea markets, Goodwills, and everything, and you may get lucky. And those are the 6 things plus one bonus thing that I wish I knew before starting film photography. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the like button, I would appreciate it, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you next one.